Thomas Alive Today presents
Rite Aid. Alex Grass founded the Rite Aid chain in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in September 1962, after marrying into Harrisburg, Pennsylvania's Lehrman family in the early 1950s. The first store was called Thrifty Discount Center. By 1964, Rite Aid's market territory included New Jersey and Virginia. Its store count doubled, bringing the total to 12. The number of employees had grown to 200. Expansion did not stop there. In 1965, Rite Aid penetrated Connecticut, and its store count rose to 25. In 1966, Rite Aid continued to expand. Its number of stores reached 36. The growth of both the retail chain and the rack jobbing portion of the business, Rack-Rite distributors, generated the need for more space, so Rite Aid began to construct a new corporate headquarters and distribution center. It also opened the first Rite Aid pharmacy in one of its drugstores in New Rochelle, New York. The following year, Rite Aid introduced 70 of its own private label products. The results of the Rite Aid pharmacy's first year were so positive that the company planned to continue installing pharmacies throughout its drugstore chain. Also, in 1966, the first Rite Aid pharmacy opens in one of the firm's drugstores in New Rochelle, New York. 1968, the firm makes its first public offering of stock and changes its name to Rite Aid Corporation. The company also set up a new division to handle its business in West Virginia and Western Pennsylvania. It acquired the 31-store South Carolina division of Phase Drug and made its third stock split since its initial public offering in 1968, issuing additional common stock contingent on the 4-for-3 stock split. On January 20, 1970, Rite Aid was admitted to the New York Stock Exchange and began trading on the big board at $25 per share with 2.8 million shares outstanding. Although the U.S. economy moved into a recession, Rite Aid was among the discount stores that flourished. Also, in 1970, Rite Aid acquired the 16-store fountain chain in Clarksburg, Virginia. By that time, the company offered more than 300 of its own products bearing the Rite Aid logo, prompting the addition of 100,000 square feet to its main distribution center in Shiremanstown, Pennsylvania. In November 1971, Rite Aid sold 250,000 new shares of common stock to the public. In 1971, the company acquired Tech Biologicals Incorporated, of New Jersey, which combined with the company's prior acquisition of immunoserums and serogenics to make up Rite Aid's Medical Services division. It also purchased a 50% equity in Superdrug Stores Limited, of the United Kingdom. The year 1971 was a period of rapid growth. Rite Aid pharmacies filled more than 5 million prescriptions that year alone. To consolidate management and increase efficiency of the rapidly growing number of stores, Rite Aid separated its market area into 5 divisions and 20 supervisory districts. In 1972, Rite Aid focused on internal efficiency in preparation for additional expansion. Also in 1972, Tech Biologicals, Biogenics Incorporated, and Immunoblood Services Incorporated were merged to form what would become known in the early 1990s as Tech. When 1972's Hurricane Agnes wrought severe damage on the company's stores in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and Elmira, New York, it also damaged the phone and water service at corporate headquarters. Teams worked around the clock to make the necessary repairs, and stores were reopened fairly rapidly. In fact, Rite Aid handled the disaster so impressively that it still was able to report filling more than 6.25 million prescriptions that year. In 1973, through the Middle East oil embargo and ensuing recession, Rite Aid again began making acquisitions. It acquired the 49-store Thomas Holmes Corporation chain and the 50-store Warner chain, both in Greater Philadelphia. The company also set about creating distribution centers that could handle the rapidly multiplying number of Rite Aid stores. It expanded its Shiremanstown distribution center by 71,000 square feet, enabling the facility to supply up to 500 stores. The company also built an automated distribution center in Rome, New York, to handle the growing northeastern market. Rite Aid's accounting and data processing departments moved to a separate building in Shiremanstown, Pennsylvania, that is now the hub of the Rite Aid complex. Rite Aid's actions that year did not end there, however. Rite Aid reduced its holdings in Superdrug plc, the successor to Superdrug Stores, Limited, to 42.5%, selling a 7.5% interest. The number of private label products that appeared bearing the Rite Aid logo climbed to 700. In addition, that year Rite Aid was one of the first drugstore chains in the United States to implement a senior citizen discount cardholder program. In 1 year, by 1974, the Rome Distribution Center had begun supplying 131 Rite Aid stores. Rite Aid also created a fifth Tech Center in Pittsburgh, just as the Dow Jones Industrial Average was falling to 663, the lowest since 1970, and the sparks of worldwide inflation began to ignite. Over the next year, Rite Aid focused on internal organization and increased its security department in an effort to reduce shoplifting. By 1976, Rite Aid was back on the acquisition track, purchasing the 52-store Keystone Centers Incorporated of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The following year, it went on to acquire 99 more stores when it bought the Reed's Incorporated drug chain in Baltimore, paving the way for Rite Aid to garner Baltimore's largest market share. In 1977, Rite Aid's private label products, with almost 900 different items, accounted for 9% of its retail sales. In 1979, Rite Aid acquired 6 U-Save stores in North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, as well as 9 ShopRite stores in the Hudson Valley. It redesigned its company logo and updated its store interiors, using mirrored canopies and bright colors throughout, while streamlining checkout counters in the process. In order to save time and money on West Virginia store openings and transportation costs among 140 of its existing stores, Rite Aid started up a 210,000 square foot distribution center in Nitro, West Virginia. Moreover, the company set ambitious goals, such as increasing store count by 10% every year and continuing to open higher-margin pharmacies throughout its drugstore chain. In 1980, Rite Aid adopted some new tactics in its growth plan. Its board of directors agreed tentatively to buy back as many as 1 million shares of Rite Aid common stock. These shares would be retained as treasury shares to provide liquid assets that could be quickly translated into cash for acquisitions, funds for the employee stock option plan, or any other corporate purposes. That year, Rite Aid acquired the 6-store Schumann Drug of Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and the 4-store Lane drugstores in Youngstown, Ohio, establishing a new prescription division for Ohio and western Pennsylvania. To expedite the processing of third-party claims, Rite Aid installed a scanning system in its data processing department. The company opened a 43,000 square foot addition to its finance and accounting building. Also, in 1980, Rite Aid became one of the nation's largest suppliers of plasma with the opening of its 9th plasmapheresis center. 10 years after its first store opened, Rite Aid operated 267 locations in 10 states. In 1981, Rite Aid became the 3rd largest retail drugstore chain in the country. 1983 marked a sales milestone of $1 billion. A 420-store acquisition along the East Coast expanded Rite Aid's holdings beyond 2,000 locations. A large number of acquisitions brought the chain to the state of Michigan in 1984. These were of Grand Rapids, Michigan-based Muir Drug and Remus Drug, along with Lippert Pharmacy of Lowell and Hairlish Drug of Flint. 1 year later, Rite Aid opened stores in Lansing, Michigan through the acquisition of State Vitamin. Expansion into Ohio began in 1987 through the acquisition of Cleveland-based Gray Drug. Among the companies acquired was Baltimore, Maryland's Reed's Drug Store. On April 10, 1989, People's Drug's 114-unit Lane Drug of Ohio was purchased by Rite Aid. Rite Aid acquired 24 Hooks Drug Stores in 1994, selling 9 of those stores to Perry Drug Stores, a Michigan-based pharmacy chain. 1 year later, Rite Aid acquired 224 stores from Perry, thus expanding its presence in Michigan even further. In 1996, Rite Aid acquired Thrifty Pay Less, a 1,000-store West Coast chain. The acquisition of Thrifty Pay Less included the Northwest-based Buy Mart membership discount stores, which was sold off in 1998. Acquisitions of Harco Incorporated and K&B Incorporated brought Rite Aid into the Gulf Coast area. In the 1990s, Rite Aid partnered with Carl Palladino's Ellicott Development Company to expand the company's presence in upstate New York. In January 1999, General Nutrition Corporation and Rite Aid formed a partnership in January 1999, bringing GNC Mini stores within the Rite Aid pharmacies. A partnership with Drugstore.com in June 1999 allowed customers of Rite Aid to place medical prescription orders online for same-day, in-store pickup. Outside the courtroom, Rite Aid continued its turnaround efforts. A $3.2 billion loan refinancing completed in June 2001 further strengthened the firm's financial footing, helping reduce total debt to about $3.7 billion and easing it back from the brink of bankruptcy. Additional funds were raised through the sale of the firm's stake in drugstore.com between January and May 2002. Drugstore.com continued to function as Rite Aid's exclusive online pharmacy. During 2002 and 2003, an additional 156 underperforming stores were closed, further reducing the store count to about 3,400. For the year ending on March 1, 2003, Rite Aid trimmed its net loss to $112.1 million, compared with the $827.7 million loss of the preceding year. Perhaps most impressively, Sammons' efforts at turning around the performance at the stores were clearly beginning to pay off. Same-store sales were up 6.7% for the year. Sammons was rewarded by being promoted to president and CEO in June 2003, with Miller remaining chairman. On July 25, 2004, Rite Aid agreed to pay $7 million to settle allegations that the company had submitted false prescription claims to United States government health insurance programs. On August 23, 2006, the Wall Street Journal announced that Rite Aid would acquire 1,858 Eckerd Pharmacy and Brooks Pharmacy stores from Jean Coutu for $3.4 billion. The deal closed on June 4, 2007. Rite Aid announced that the two chains would be converted to the Rite Aid name, retiring the 109-year-old Eckerd banner. The merger was signed and completed as of June 4, 2007, with all remaining Eckerd stores converted to Rite Aid by the end of September 2007. In 2015, Rite Aid purchased Envision Rx, a pharmacy benefit manager, which owns subsidiary PBM's MedTrack, Connect Health Solutions, and Smith Premier Services. On January 4, 2008, Rite Aid Corporation announced that it would terminate operation of its 28 Rite Aid stores in the Las Vegas, Nevada area and had signed an agreement to sell patient prescription files from that metro market to Walgreens. The company said Las Vegas was a non-core market that had not been contributing to overall results, and it had not opened a new store there since 1999. One Nevada store would remain open in Gardnerville, near the California border, where Rite Aid at the time had more than 600 stores. On February 5, 2009, Rite Aid announced that it would terminate operations of 7 Rite Aid stores in San Francisco, along with 5 stores in eastern Idaho through a sale to Walgreens. Rite Aid formerly had a presence in the Columbus, Ohio market, but has since sold off its stores there to CVS. In June 2010, John Stanley was promoted from Chief Operating Officer to Chief Executive Officer, with former CEO Mary Sammons retaining her position as chairperson. Ken Martindale, previously co-president of Pathmark, was named Chief Operating Officer. On October 27, 2015, Walgreens announced that it would acquire Rite Aid for $9.4 billion, pending regulatory and shareholder approval. The deal would have resulted in a merger of 2 of the United States' 3 largest pharmacy chains. Walgreens planned to keep the Rite Aid name on existing stores when the deal went through, though the long-term plans for the Rite Aid name were unknown. On December 21, 2016, it was announced that Fred's would acquire 865 Rite Aid stores as a result of the merger for $950 million, for antitrust reasons. In January 2017, Rite Aid and Walgreens cut the price of the merger to approximately $6.8 billion and delayed the merger by 6 months. On January 31, 2017, it was reported that the Workers' Union 1199 SEIU United Healthcare Workers East, representing 6,000 Rite Aid Corp workers, was opposed to the sale of the Rite Aid stores to Fred's Incorporated. On June 29, 2017, Walgreens announced the merger was canceled, adding that it would be purchasing 2,186 stores from Rite Aid for $5.2 billion plus a $325 million penalty for canceling. Most experts had thought that the merger would be completed within a few weeks. The merger would have had about 46% of the market share. The revised deal, now not including Fred's at all, effectively would have seen Rite Aid exit the southeastern United States. On September 19, 2017, the Federal Trade Commission approved a 4th deal agreement, this time allowing Walgreens to purchase only 1,932 Rite Aid stores for $4.38 billion. The sale was completed on March 27, 2018. 3 distribution centers and related inventory were transferred after September 1, 2018, when the stores were rebranded to Walgreens. The 1,932 stores showed banners saying "Pharmacy now operated by Walgreens" or "We now have a Walgreens pharmacy." In the meantime, after the acquisition, Walgreens closed about 600 stores over 18 months starting in spring 2018, mostly Rite Aid stores within a mile of an existing Walgreens. On February 20, 2018, Albertsons announced plans to acquire the remainder of Rite Aid, including the 2,600 stores not acquired by Walgreens, in a merger of equals, subject to shareholder and regulatory approval. On August 8, 2018, Rite Aid announced that the plan had failed to please shareholders and the proposed acquisition would be canceled. In October 2018, a former Rite Aid vice president of advertising and two co-owners of New Vision Graphics Incorporated pleaded guilty to a $5.7 million kickback scheme defrauding Rite Aid. Amazon announced in June 2019 that Amazon shoppers will be able to pick up their purchases at designated counters inside more than 100 Rite Aid stores across the U.S. The new service is called Counter and launches in the US after finding success in the UK with the Next clothing chain and in Italy with Giunti al Punto Librerie, Firmapoint and SisalPay stores. In October 2020, Rite Aid announced the acquisition of the privately held Bartell Drugs, a 67-location Seattle area chain, for $95 million. Some customers have criticized the acquisition with reports of heavy staff turnover and computer system glitches. In May of 2022, Rite Aid partnered with Homeward, a rural home care startup. Under this partnership, Medicare-eligible customers will be directed to Homeward's clinical services and will have access to Homeward mobile care units. On July 14, 2022, Rite Aid inked a $10.5 million settlement with counties in Georgia, North Carolina, and Ohio, which allowed the company to sit out the next wave of trials stemming from the opioid epidemic in the U.S., which are slated to begin against national pharmacy chains by 2023. On March 14, 2023, the United States government sued Rite Aid for missing red flags as it illegally filled hundreds of thousands of prescriptions for controlled substances, including opioids from May 2014 to June 2019. On August 25, 2023, Rite Aid announced that it would be preparing to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection within the coming weeks in an effort to settle mass federal and state opioid lawsuits the drugstore retailer has been facing, according to company officials. Plans also call for the potential closure of up to 500 underperforming locations nationwide. In October 2023, Credit Risk Monitor reported that Rite Aid was nearing a potential Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. On October 15, 2023, amid several opioid lawsuits and legal battles, Rite Aid filed a petition under Chapter 11 of the United States Bankruptcy Code in the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey. The company said in a statement it had secured $3.5 billion in financing and debt reduction agreements from lenders to keep the company afloat through its bankruptcy. Around 500 stores will still shutter throughout the bankruptcy procedure throughout the remainder of 2023. However, on October 18, 2023, Rite Aid warned investors that it may not be able to survive its bankruptcy filing and might have to permanently shutter or sell all of its remaining stores over the next 12 months. On November 30, 2023, Rite Aid announced is closing additional 31 stores added to the closures that they announced, as the company deals with its bankruptcy filing. The 31 stores are located in a dozen states, including 7 in California, 4 in Pennsylvania, 3 locations each in Ohio, Virginia and Washington, and 2 each in Michigan, New Jersey, Oregon, and New York. The remaining stores are 1 each in Connecticut, Maryland, and Nevada. The days of Rite Aid may be numbered as the company will fight for survival.
I decided to try this hot new color that all the magazines are raving about. I go to Rite Aid and pick it up. It's horrible. Another one to add to the makeup junk drawer, right? Wrong. Rite Aid's got this new cosmetics money-back guarantee, and it's risk-free. You don't like it? Rite Aid gives you your money back. We all make mistakes buying cosmetics, but now we don't have to pay for them.
The Rite Aid Cosmetics Money-Back Guarantee. For your life, Rite Aid's got it.
If you have any fond memories, please indicate it at the comments below. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and like.